In some juice, well, actually, this is the second day of the review. In some juice drinks, only a portion is made up of real fruit juice. A juice carton advertises that it is 78% real juice, expressed 78 as a fraction in simplest form. You do 78 over 100, then reduce down to 29/50ths. Only a portion of the land on the earth is farmland capable of growing food. In a particular region, 28% of the land is farmland, expressed 28% as a fraction in simplest form. 28 over 100, which reduces down to 7/25ths. Express 64% as a decimal and as a fraction in simplest form. I'm going to pause it real quick. We're going to move the decimal over 2 places to the right and or to the left because we're going from percents to decimals. So we're going to the left in the alphabet. You get 0.64. And the other way to do this is to have 64 over 100, which reduces down to 16/25ths. Those are the two answers. A soil sample contains clay, composted materials. Clay makes up 29% of the soil, expressed 29% as a decimal. Again, we're going from P to D, so our decimal is going to be moving to the left, and you get 0.29. Express 33% as a decimal, so we're going from P to D, you're moving 2 places to the left, you get 0.33. Find the percent represented by the mixed number, write your answer in simplest form. 1 4/7. You're going to have to divide the fraction. Actually, hold on a second. There we go. If you're going from a fraction to a percentage, you're really multiplying it by 100. So I changed to an improper fraction, which is 11/7. Multiplied it by 100, and you get 1100 over 7. And then I would divide it out, and I got 157 and 1/7%. The other way of doing this is you know that the 1 is equal to 100%, and then just change 4/7 to percent over 100. And that will come out to 57 and 1/7. Express 7/10 as a percent. That's going to be 7 over 10 equals 70 over 100, which is 70%. Express 0.49 as a percent. So we're going from a decimal to a percent. So that's D to P. You get 49%. Express 42 2/3 as a fraction in simplest form. Again, if you're going from a percent to a fraction, you're dividing by 100. So you have 42 2/3 divided by 100. You get 128/3, which divided by 100, you can't do it, so we keep change flip. 128 over 3 times 1/100 to get 128 over 300, which reduces down, if you divide by 4, to 32/75. Express 56.4 as a fraction in simplest terms. We know that it's always over 100, but the problem here was I had to move the decimal and get rid of the decimal. So I multiplied by 10. Whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. Now we have 564 thousandths, which reduces down to 141/250ths. What is 55% of 125? We do is of percent over 100. And you end up with 68.75. I had to stop and make some corrections, and I kind of lost my way, so hopefully I'm in the right spot. Is of, you get 68.75. What is 85% of 45? You would have to find 85% of 45. Crisscross divide, you get 38.25. Again, set up your is of equals percent over 100 ratio every time, guys. 65% of the students group of people have brown eyes. How many of the people in the group? How many people are in the group if 260 people have brown eyes? Well, this means that you're setting that 260 equal to 65. So if you look down here, I put it across the equation. The other way to do it is to write it out. 260 is 65% of what? Do your is and your of equals percent over 100. Crisscross divide. You get 100 times 260 divided by 65 equals 400. 43, 72% of the people in the store are female. How many people are in the store if 216 females are in the store? 216 is 72% of what? Again, you know that you're setting this 216 here equal to the 72. So they have to be straight across the equation from each other. You end up with 300 if you do all the math correctly. Jennifer is making a cold platter using turkey and ham for an event that she is catering. She uses 90 slices of meat. If 63 slices of the meat are turkey, what percent of the meat on the platter is ham? Sorry, I keep having to pause the video. Jennifer is making a cold cut platter using turkey and ham for an event that she is catering. She uses 90 slices of meat. If 63 of the slices of meat are turkey, what percent of the meat on the platter is ham? So we know that there's 90 total, and that 63 of them are turkey. So you would take that 63 away from the 90, and you get 27. Then you do part over whole. Part over whole equals 27/90ths. Then we reduce down. I reduced down to 3/10. You could have just done part over whole equals percent over 100, but it's easier for me to do 3/10 equals 30 over 100, which is 30%. An employee earned $56,700 in a year and had $8,788.50 withheld for federal income tax. What was the federal income tax percent rate? If necessary, round your answer to the nearest hundredth of a percent. So we know that $8,788.50 is going to be the amount of taxes withheld over the salary or the total. Then you set it equal to percent over 100. Crisscross divide, you end up with 15.5%. Jenny bought a scrapbook supplies for $70.75. She paid $5.66 in sales tax. What was the sales tax rate on the supplies? Again, $5.66 over 70 and 75/100ths equals percent over 100. Crisscross divide, you end up with an 8% sales tax. Iris wants to buy 2 necklaces, one for her sister and one for herself. The necklace for her sister costs $42 and the necklace for herself costs $28. The sales tax on the purchases is 8%. Find the total cost of Iris's purchases including sales tax. If necessary, round your answer to the nearest 10th cent. Okay, so first you have to find out how much you're spending on necklaces. So we get 42 plus 28 is $70. So $70 is going to be the total cost of the necklaces before tax. Then we know that we're going to keep 100% of that 70 plus an additional 8% tax. So I do is of percent over 100. I have 108. We have 70. We have over 1, and then we have 108 over 100. So 108 times 70 divided by 100 gives you $75.60. Now I know that some of you like to do the 8% by itself, so you would have done 8 times 70 is 560 divided by 100 is $5.60, and then added that onto the 70. That works also. Sarah wants to buy a necklace. The necklace has a list price of $41 and a sales tax of 6%. What will be the cost of the necklace after tax is added? Round your answer to the nearest cent. Again, 100 plus 6% is 106%. Crisscross divide, you end up with $43.46. Louisa sells stuffed animals. She sells a stuffed animal or elephant for $34.90, and the sales tax is 9% of the sales price. How about how much is the sales tax on the elephant? You got to be careful here because they're just asking for the sales tax. They're not asking for the total amount. So you would do crisscross divide here, and you would come up with $3.14, but it says about how much is the sales tax, so I would probably say it is about $3. School chorus made a profit of $200 selling lemonade at the Snack Shack during a softball tournament. This was 70% of the total revenue. How much was the revenue from Lemonade, how much was the revenue from lemonade sales? Round your answer to the nearest dollar. You have to set this 200 equal to the 74 because it says 200 selling lemonade from a snack shack. This was 74%, so they have to be across from each other on the equation. There's cross divide. You're going to end up with $270.27 total. All right. Joe works in a music store and earns 18.8 or 18.5% commission on each sale. If he sells an organ and earns $82, what is the price of the organ? Round your answer to the nearest cent. We know that the percent has to be over 100. Then the question is, where are you going to put that $82 commission? Well, is the $82 all of the price of the organ, or is it the price of the commission? Well, it's the commission. So you set them across from each other. All right? Then we're trying to find a question mark, and it's simple as 82 times 100 divided by 18.5. You get $443.24. Skip number 53, 54. Number 55, a bookstore buys an Algebra 1 book at a wholesale price of $16. It then marks up the price by 83% and sells the Algebra 1 book. What is the amount of the markup? What is the selling price? Well, first of all, we have to figure out what is the price. It says what is the amount of the markup. So 83% of 16. I set it up over here, 83% of 16. 83 times 16 divided by 100 gives you $13.28. So right away you can eliminate two of the other answers because the markup is not $83 and the markup is not $29. Now you got to go to the second part. I took and made it 183% because we're keeping all of the 16. Crisscross divide, you get $29.28. The other way to do it is just add this $13.28 onto your 16. So if you did $13.28 onto 16, you get $29.28. Either way works. An airliner is trying to promote a new Boston to Atlanta flight. The usual price is $315. However, the airline is offering a 40% discount until the end of the month. How much will the flight cost after the discount? Automatically, you know that you're starting with 100, but you lost 40% of it, so you're only keeping 60%. 60% of $315 is $189. A Cycle Shop sells the Ultra Extreme mountain bike for $179.98. Kameen Bike sells the bike for $280.20. Today, Kameen decides to offer a 19% discount on the bike. Which store has the better deal? You're going to take your 19%, subtract it from 100. That leaves you with 81. Then we crisscross divide. So $226.96 is going to be Kameen Cycles. But your Eddie's Cycle Shop still sells it for $179.98. So Eddie's is the better deal. Price of a train ticket to Oklahoma or to Atlanta to Oklahoma City is $117. However, children under the age of 16 receive a 70% discount. Find the sale price for someone under the age of 16. 30% because we do 100 minus 70%, so you're only keeping 30% of that. Crisscross divide, you get $35.10. The price of a train ticket from Orlando is normally $118. However, the train company is offering a special 75% discount for children under 16. What's the normal cost? I'm speeding up because we're running out of time. 100 minus 75 equals 25%. So we find 25% of 118. That gives you $29.50. This is the last one. Basically, they're saying if you take 30% off of the price of a skateboard, what's going to be the total cost? So 100 minus 30% equals 70. So you're keeping 70% of that $55. The reason I did 55 is because it's about how much. Crisscross divide, you get $38.50.